So we got the top of funnel, and this is relevant to the business model because again, I know like people tell me, does this work in my business model? Is this B2B, B2C? It's relatively the same. It's always going to be attraction, conversion, delivery, scale. Okay, and what we're dialing in is really getting your brain automated in such a way, or it's not automated, but there's a certain velocity of intuition, and many people, as you may know, is called the four phases of mastery. And so
Hmm.
the first is, of course, it's kind of interesting because it has to also do with how the phases of marketing your seg audience is. So people are not problem aware. They're not even aware a solution exists. Then they're aware they're a problem. They don't even know a solution exists. And they're aware of both the problem and the solution. They don't just know which one to choose. And then now this is kind of where we are in the industry. It's like people have so many options and they don't know why they should choose you, which is why it's important to allow yourself to say, hey, internally, I'm one of the best in the world at what I do. But externally, your communication is such that you are avoiding what many coaches go through, which is an identity crisis. And that's not necessarily a bad thing, okay? Because, ultimately, we all go through these phases of evolving in our life. But when it comes to a pragmatic business terminology understanding, we just need to be clear about, okay, what are the top three zones of genius that this business has? And so those three unique mechanisms, times four, are going to be what you guys do. Okay, which is healing the root cause, clearing the blocks to manifestation. It's, business models for empowered females, right? Clear roadmaps, clear roadmaps. Um, Hannah also does, can you help me understand? It's also like, um, what would you say? The top three.
What
The
the
top
top three things?
Yeah, like what themes is every one of those offers that you guys have revolving around, just so that we you guys can be clear on that. There's obviously integrative health, which is the healing of like all of this, the patterns, the wounds. Hannah also she sent me a text message that I can pull on. But yeah, why don't you why
Yeah, amazing.
don't-
So it's it's 10xing your life in every area: business, health, vitality, money, all of things basically.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
To expand wealth,
So
secure, to have a secure love life and maximum vitality.
hell yeah. I love that. But just understand, okay, that those are promises. Okay. So that just implies that y'all know what clear messaging is. Okay.
Hmm.
But what I want you to help to see, and this will help you to just understand how to make your life easier when it comes to DMs, is that
Hmm.
that's the promise. But what I mean by mechanism is, okay, what is the unique mechanism or the process to getting them faster to the 10x exponential health, to the wealth,
Right.
right? And to what was the last one you said? Performance,
Vitality,
vitality, and wealth. Oh yeah, and relationships.
wealth,
Relationships.
relationships.
It's the big three.
So
So I
the
just
big three.
yeah, I just want you to see that, right? Like what will get them to, let's just say 10x vitality, okay, is the healing, integrative healing university, right? Global university.
Global University of Integrative Healing.
Okay. You see that? So that's the mechanism to get them to that result. Okay.
Right. Let's see. Okay.
Okay. Now, let me ask you a question for the relationship stuff. Or could we call this love coaching? What would you say is the overarching high level system, right? That like is that something I know you work on all three in all those all the offers, but how would you describe in a very as simple as possible, the process to getting them to that result in the relationships? Okay.
Firstly, it's about relationship to self.
Oh,
As cheesy as it sounds, you got to love yourself before you love anyone else. So we have a whole section on conscious relationships, which includes relationship to self, the drama triangle.
mm, love that. So self,
Um, yeah, self love, relation, like drama triangle, which is where, which again, you're learning about yourself with that, and then that can overflow to your relationships with family, lovers, friends, who work colleagues.
beautiful. Okay. So communication essentially.
Yes, being able to speak your truth and being able to um, own parts of you that you may not like. So self acceptance.
Okay, that would also fall into the bucket of self-love in some way, shape, or form, right? So I'm
Yeah.
just help you to organize things a bit better, where you can draw shapes to communicate to their nervous system. Hey, because like in the same
Mhm.
way, in my group, I say, guys, let me point to the same offer we showed you day one before you even bought this thing. They said attraction, conversion, delivery model, right? So attraction, content, conversion, sales, right? Delivery, buy back your time, right? Leverage delivery group versus one-on-one. Super simple, right? And then scale is
Mhm.
delegation and allocation, let's just say. Automation, delegation, leadership allocation, right? And so what Hannah's investing into the business, just so that you understand, is like she's investing into your leadership, okay? So that at some point she can delegate your delegation to someone else who may come on board. They may not, but they may. It just depends on the speed that we're able to run at. Your mindset gets to be okay if that's something that you're willing to accept. Do you accept the challenge? At one day,
Mhm.
train someone, and that would be a level where you reach that level of mastery because when you teach, you begin to skill up in a huge way. That's why a lot of all my offers were selfish. Of course, I want to serve and make impact and help people. But ultimately, they were problems that I struggle with the most. See that? So I made these programs for myself. So if you want to
Yeah.
become a class in this, then just understand that, I want you to elevate your paradigm a bit. Is that okay? To think a bit outside the box, to think a bit bigger. Okay?
Mhm.
You'd be surprised at how much more energy you have when you elevate your standard of letting yourself just kind of play in that possibility, right? But anyways, let's get back to the brass tacks, okay, ground level. We did some meta, but now we talked about why we're doing this, but now we talk about how we do this, right? So that's beautiful that you have a simple structure, which is this kind of this triangle, the drama triangle, self-love and communication. That's the mechanism, okay, that's unique in the marketplace. I'm helping you to kind of brand, okay, simplify and brand your unique mechanism. And it is through that, and I can share more, answer any questions around that with Hannah directly.
Mhm.
But the more that I like, people know about Transcendent Seven Figure System, they know about my sales system. They know about embodied wealth codes, hypnotherapy. They know about aura speaking to influence because those are my three specializations. The reason why the market knows is because I've taken the time to insert and seed all of the names of my unique mechanisms throughout like all my posting. And so it's through the power of that consistent repetition in the body of content that people begin to get sold into the idea of what makes my stuff different from most mainstream stuff, okay? And most just kind of law of attraction stuff. Because I base my principles off of neuroscience and physics.
Mhm.
Okay. What's so funny about physics and numbers is that science is magic. It's just unknown to most. Is that interesting? So magic is this,
Mm.
it's the effect. There's science is actually the underpinning, okay, and the foundation that helps us to connect with that magic. It's no different from how technology, it already existed before we did. It's a consciousness. So technology simply just represents a consciousness that our consciousness became aware of. And that's why people say that technology is an extension of human consciousness. It's all it is. Nothing to be scared of, you know? AI, well, that's for another day. Okay. Aliens, that's for another day. Okay. Right? But you get my point. So does that help you to understand, right? That there's just a clear promise, and then downstream from the promise is where you get to position yourself as unique in the marketplace with your processes. Okay, we call these the big three or the big four. And so you've got the healing global for the vitality. You've got this kind of triangle, trifecta of love. And people say, what do you mean by that? What's the trifecta of love? Oh, well, okay, drama triangle, communication, speaking your truth, self-acceptance. You see what I'm saying?
Mhm. Yeah.
Mind
Okay.
go in and out. It goes, ooh, excitement, result. Ooh, curiosity. What is that trifecta of glory or trifecta of pleasure, trifecta of whatever you want to call it, right? Okay, so all we're doing is we're just drawing paint, and then as that blue paint runs down the canvas, that we draw something that's maybe let's say green. So we have blue starts running down the canvas. Green, we paint some green underneath the blue. And then when the blue mixes into the green, what does that become? Purple. Okay, so whatever you say is gonna have a leading, a line, a leading word or a leading line. So I say the bear versus when I say the blue bear. And there's no blue bears in the room, are there? Last time I checked, right? So you see how there's no blue bear, but your subconscious can't not think of a blue bear, can it?
Only blue bears.
What's that?
Only blue bears.
So this is a copywriting principle. This is the messaging principle. This is a leadership sales principle. One affects the next, and this is what we call pacing and leading. So pacing is just helping you to take something that is objective in the environment that can't be argued with.
Okay.
And what I'm helping you to do is to understand the reason and the confidence this gives you in order to lead people and get them to do what you want them to do, but have it be in a way that feels right. Okay? Let me,
Mm-hmm.
and then we'll go into DMs, okay? And then we'll get some sales flow. But like, I just want you to understand this is the top of the funnel attraction. Then we have conversion, okay? And so what we're gonna do moving forward, especially in 2025, is to fill the top of funnel with low ticket sales, whether that be guest pass to a masterclass. It's going to be a release of a digital low ticket product, such as either a book, okay, or a
Mm-hmm.
long format training. We're going to be able to use that, maybe put some low cost ad spend to start to add to the top of the funnel to build the brand awareness. Does that make sense? So that, because that's why you guys hired me, because in some way, shape, or form, is because you have flow. Okay, you have plenty of leads. But at some point, that may dry up. Okay, but just remember that a lot of sales come from following up with people and building that relationship, nurturing that, so that when three,
Yeah.
6 down the line, those people don't buy with other people, but they buy with you because you're top of mind. But do you see how so many coaches and CEOs, if they don't get the sale right away, they just kind of forget about them. And then when
Mm-hmm.
that person has the funds, they spend it with someone else who's less qualified. Is that crazy? It's crazy.
Mm.
Right?
Really?
We're avoiding that issue, but we're also mitigating and eliminating future pain points by just, taking some action around intentionally planting more seeds so that when we go to harvest, we're not like, where's all the fucking food? We're in a famine. Okay. And that's where that cash flow is going to go stay more consistent. Does that help you to understand?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, this doesn't even include all the different strategies and systems that I have, network that I have to help you guys with exposure. But let's just take one step at a time. Okay, when it comes to partnerships, JVs, other financial opportunities, uh, just people who can promote Hana's work to their audience. Really powerful, actually. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like if I give back rubs and you give foot rubs, well, if I meet someone who doesn't like back rubs, they want foot rubs, but I can monetize from leveraging you as an asset, then I'll leverage you as an asset, and then you can cut me a
Mm-hmm.
deal. You see that?
Yeah.
That's called strategic partnerships. And they're super simple, but again, easier said than done. But let's get back to the third mechanism. So for when it comes to what wealth creation, right? Hannah talks about identity, high level strategy, and what would you say? Product suite build out.
Yes.
Okay, so again, that's the unique mechanism. It's like the feminine structure.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, but a key word is structure. Okay, because that's what a lot of people are missing. Um, because they're either going so hardcore in the bro scaling, um, or it's just kind of this syrupy feel good stuff and law of attraction, but they don't get traction, ironically, because they can't take action because they have no systems. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Yeah.
genius. Law of attraction, the action. Anyways, but does that help you to understand? Just kind of like when people say, what makes you unique, you don't even have to answer that question. That's a great question. I'll answer that in a second. Well, what do you think? You see that? So it's a frame control issue that people in leadership don't understand. So if I start to explain myself, I look low status. But if I just flip the script and push the ball back to you, what do you think? And now the person has to
Mm.
and remind themselves of why they're even talking to you. And that should give you massive confidence because the last person they want to talk to is the stranger they met online, but they push things off for such a long time that now they need to sit on a call with you for 15 minutes. Nobody wants to do that. Am I right?
Yeah.
It's crazy, right? It's so funny. They won't even watch. 90 seconds of your reels, but now they have to jump on a call with a stranger for 15 minutes. That should give you a lot of certainty and confidence in your ability to sign them up because they don't even want to be there. See that? Because now they confront their pain points and now they have to own their desires. And that's not the most comfortable thing to do, is it? Now it's pretty simple to do when you're experienced, but most people it's very difficult to do that. Okay, does this help you?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's get back into the DMs because I want to, but does that help you to understand like where this fits in all of the process? This is also what we'll focus on in the sprint for what we're selling in as like a bundle on Black Friday weekend is helping people to communicate the value of what they do in a positioned way to collect cash on leads who are not a full fuck yes. Okay, they may be on the fence, but it's because they're not initiating conversations or even successfully having conversations with leads in the messages. They're leaving tens of thousands of dollars on the table from just not having a smooth, connected ask qualification process without being what? Spammy, sleazy, pushy.
Mm.
On the other hand, while avoiding having kind of mindless chit chat that basically leads to nowhere but the friend zone and a really pissed off coach because the person's just kind of taking value in free coaching, but was never serious about buying. But that's not their fault. That's the coach's fault because they don't have a clear qualification specificity. So it just doesn't really lead to anything. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so anyways, let's get started. But before we get started, do you have any questions specifically around leads that you've been going through? Because we can look at some of that stuff. And this is fun, right? This gets to be, a good time. Just kind of getting curious and playful around, what these people are saying and what is the
Um, Not really. You've answered my one earlier about wanting to jump on calls, so that's easy enough. What did I put here earlier? Hang on a second.
Did you jump on a call with someone? Did you jump on?
No, no, a couple of weeks ago I had a call with someone, but not recently, no.
Okay.
Um, so yeah, you answered my question there, so I don't need to go through that. Lots of people are saying, "Oh, hi, I really like your work, blah blah blah. Um, are you looking for a VA or are you looking for this?" What should I do with those people? Just say, yeah, what should we do with those people? Do we
Uh,
need to do anything with those people?
they're
We're
asking
not hiring at the moment, or
they're asking you for a VA, or they're asking to.
no, they want to work with us.
Oh, no, just ignore that.
Okay,
This is a
then I
self-control.
have no.
Yeah, you have to control your emotions. Like you have to have impulse control, um, and stay laser focused and locked in, and just boop.
Okay, cool,
Now, just
good.
also understand, okay, because the thing is that like I also tested this. I'm like, well, this person is reaching out from some account and asking me if I need a VA or some team member, and then I just just say, oh, great question. I appreciate that. You know, uh, for now, we've really got that whole area covered and accounted for. But if it's useful for you or helpful, here's our, here's our story and some helpful case studies. And I'll literally just send a virtual sales letter, short form VSL, which has my story and my social proof, and then my case studies, a bunch of them. And so then I'll just send that over, right? So at the very least, I just planted the seed in that business where even if it's not the CEO reaching out to me, like if they see that and they get excited and they're curious, they're going to send that over to the CEO. And then maybe the CEO might see that, reach out to me, and then hire me. Okay, so you can even just use that as a lead gen opportunity to flip the script and start selling that.
Yeah. Okay.
But again, just
Cool.
set it and forget it. You know,
Yeah.
if they reach out and book, like if they reach out and respond with interest, then you can start selling them. Okay.
Yeah.
Or qualifying them.
Okay.
You see that? So you have two
Yeah.
options. You can either ignore, move along, or you could just say, hey, reframe it and just be like, hey, thank you. I appreciate that so much. But I got that already covered. If you're looking to acquire another blah, 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 okay,
Yeah.
without burning out or without becoming a slave to your phone, here's some helpful info. Okay, and then just send over the case study. That's what I do. I tell my team to do that. And we've had some
Okay.
sales. We've had some random sales, but it's not like a strategy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, it's kind of like,
Okay.
okay,
Cool.
someone gives you a lemon, you just squeeze it, but you're not relying on that one lemon.
Yeah. Okay, cool. I'm just gonna
Yeah,
grab some water. One sec.
yeah, yeah, and we'll talk about assets in just a moment. This will really help you with driving the sales. I've got 2 cups of coffee. Oh, whew. All right, one sec here.
Good boy. Yeah.
Okay, let's see. One sec here.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right, so let's get cranking. Let me ask you a question. And we'll go over some of the ways that I've been able to reframe conversations. But what is the one like did Hana have you guys create some sort of like website link where you have a collection of case studies? Do you have that? Because that would be
We're
very
doing that right now. The team are
okay.
doing that right now.
Okay, that will be amazing. Okay. And that
Yeah.
what that's yeah, that's gonna do a lot of heavy lifting. Um, because the way that I teach, just so that you understand, okay? When it comes to the sales process, if someone's high intent, okay, they're gonna be faster to lean into the offer and be qualified fast and to either book a call or if it's super high ticket or to to be qualified to earn a pitch. Okay. And before we pitch, we'll just send over the case studies. Okay.
Yeah.
And within either the sales page or on a separate link that we'll just send them before that. It's like, hey, you remind me of, I handpicked some case studies after researching your page for a bit of people who are reminding me a bit of you. So let me just rephrase that. By the way, if it's any use to you and helpful, I after researching your page for 5 minutes with my team, I handpicked some case studies of individuals on this unique link who reminded me a bit of you. And that makes it feel like customized and personalized to them. And then they click the link and they say,
So, so with those case studies, or testimonials, would you have like all the money ones on one link, all the health ones on one link, and then like a mixture, or like all the romantic love ones on one link, and then maybe a mixture of all three, so you have different links for each kind of topic? I can't hear you.
That would, can you hear me now? Hello.
Yes.
Okay, that would be phenomenal. Okay. So the way that I'm processing that question, and this is helpful with, thinking like a CEO, receiving like a CEO. Okay, when you think, okay, you have the will to think about something. But just understand
Mm.
that synergizing with the intuition implies that you're kind of perceiving your brain as a radio station, okay? Rather than this kind of this one-dimensional machine, a computer. So I can think of the color blue, this, that, but I'm not thinking, I'm receiving an idea that's coming into my radio station. This is why meditation is so powerful, because it helps you to just ignore the unuseful thoughts and then refocus onto the ones you want. Okay. Isn't that interesting, right? A lot of people say, oh, think and grow rich, right? You hear that all the time. But a lot of
Mm.
successes comes from not getting distracted by human negative thoughts and then
Mm.
receiving the ones that you do want. This is why you focus so much on state control, because when you control your state, your brain shifts your perceptions, and that shifts what thoughts you begin to have, and then over time, those become beliefs, right? Thought patterns.
Yeah.
Okay, a lot of people think.
Okay.
Okay, so what I mean by that is that yes, answer the question explicitly is all four is great and important, okay, to raise up the assets that you have to deploy. But when it comes to first priority, just put a bunch of each on one link so that you can start deploying that like ASAP. And then then the next project will be to organize them into three buckets to make it more targeted to someone's needs. Does that help you?
Right. Okay. Yeah. So just because the team are working on it like now, more or less, we just discussed it in the meeting yesterday. Yes, come on in, Boo. So for now, just get everything or a majority, a handful of things on one link, and then in the future, when we've got that, one for money, one for love, one for vitality.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes. 100%. Yes. Okay. Now those assets, when you organize them in three different ways or three different like types of links,
Yeah.
you can also deploy those to clients who are ready to kind of go to a different offer and
Ah,
pre-frame the opportunity by sending them some of the case studies before you send the payment link. Okay, to increase the emotional state, the buyer temperature, even if they're a client. Even if they're a client, it's still helpful for them to see case studies before they
right.
resign.
So, for example, if someone is interested in 10xing their vitality, and we've sent them a vitality link,
Yeah.
we could also then say, and these are some of our loved ones as well. So it's not just about vitality. Is that what you mean?
Uh,
Or not?
yeah,
I'm confused.
yeah. Again, it just always comes back around to knowing your outcome with this individual
Right.
and what you feel is or think is appropriate for pacing them and leading them into the next opportunity. Um, so does that answer your question?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, Yeah, and so it's just, yeah, as long as you're just clear about your as long as you're clear about the next step that you want them to take, or the outcome that you want, then you'll kind of know what's appropriate to do it, to implement it. So yeah, you to
Okay.
answer your question, if you're not sure, sometimes you're like, oh, I don't know, but you should be sure, because if you're having a dialogue with them, and
Yes, you know.
if you're asking targeted questions around what areas of the life that they're struggling with, they'll tell you.
Yeah. Cool. Okay.
Okay. And it's crazy
Mhm.
because sometimes people are having this goal, right? And this is a positioning principle, is that someone has a financial goal. And this is why it's valuable for you to have multiple different types of people on the case studies, because if they have a financial goal and they think it's about strategy, um, there's an opportunity for you to position your offer by also having examples of people who may have realized that it wasn't necessarily a strategy issue, but it was an energy health issue, right? Sometimes it's even the other way. It's someone wants to increase their vitality, and it ends up being a relationship love issue. And once I solved that,
Mm.
they were surprised to realize, you see keyword realize, uh, that they didn't even know what they needed. They only knew kind of what they wanted. Like they didn't know what would be the real catalyst for growth.
Yeah.
Right. And this is also why people have, ego deaths in business, because they'll build a huge castle and still feel very miserable, and then they're just confused. Okay, and then, oh man, I need to tap into my spirituality. I need to become healthy, and then I could get the best of both worlds. But it took that experience for them to humble themselves, to not try to solve that problem from the paradigm that created it. See
Hmm.
that? So that's why I say, don't try to solve a problem when you're not in a state that's useful, because you're probably going to be distorting and framing and generalizing that experience in your programming, and what you say may not work. It may not be effective. And that's why in the unconscious mind, I'm sure but it helps to get someone else's perspective, is that it's not about what happened to us. It's about the way that we recorded that experience at the time, with the information that we had at the time, and now in this moment, how we are currently relating to that recording. So in other
Yeah.
words, your memories are very distorted, and you have a very vague painting or picture of that experience that is actually can take it doesn't have all the pieces. It's impossible to have all the pieces. Like all the critical factors that went into that emotional experience, that memory that you have is a subjective memory. You know how they say, right? You can change your past. That's what they mean, that they can heal your past. You can just change the meaning,
Hmm.
and recognize that as hard as much as you think you know accurately what happened, because you remember it, it's very unlikely that that's actually what happened. You know what I mean? Because as kids, we're like, I didn't get love the way that I wanted it, and I'm mad, right? And that's our ego. It's
Yeah.
it's a fractal, right? It's become fragmented. Okay. It's like, so when you reorganize that hologram, it begins to spin faster and faster. And then now you're there. It's like there's multiple, it's like a diamond, right? You shine the light on the diamond. When you shine the light on that diamond, now there's a more omni directional awareness, And that's what gives you that healing to let that go.
Mm.
But at the time, you could only see it from this tiny little egoic fractal. That's the trauma, right? That's why when people get like traumatized or activated or triggered, the body and the nervous system literally feel like it's happening now because that trauma loop hasn't completed. So it's like ding, 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 ding. And when it gets activated, it gets stimulated and it starts running. And then in your body, it feels like it's actually happening to you now because it's bringing that up to
Mm.
the surface to be looked at. The people are like, oh, I don't want to come up. It's like, no, no, no. It's wanting to come up to be brought to light, to be loved, to be healed. And people don't like that feeling. So they run away from that and they just push it down rather than release it. Okay. So does that help you to understand? Anyways, I don't know why I went to that, but I thought that was cool. But let's get back into some of my examples so that I can help you guys to approach reframing in a way that is super simple and easy to understand. My intention for everyone who learns from me on these elite calls that we do with teams is that it's simple, not complicated. Because if it's complicated, you won't do it. Okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And by the way, there like this is also important for you guys to maybe consider when it comes to delivery is that as much as you love blowing people's minds with information, it's not that that's not valuable, but just be mindful that you just can't expect your clients to run at the pace that you run at. And sometimes when you give them too much information, they become overwhelmed. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I like that. Be mindful that your clients may not run at the same pace as you.
Yeah, because again, when it comes to skill set creation mastery, level one is always you manifest an opportunity to become someone. And that opportunity includes awareness. Okay, awareness that this asset is available to you. And then step two is that you begin to apply that asset. Step three is through the power of repetition, intensity, and intentionality, your application of that asset turns into skill set, right? And that's what you're predicating your confidence on, is not the outcome, but the skill. You see that? So if I were to take away all your things, all your money, all your love, all your dogs and all this stuff, when you've reached that skill level of okayness and I guess skill set, right? That doesn't ultimately tear you down because you have the ability, the competency to recreate what you once had. Okay, and so when you teach that, when you skill up, okay, now you want to go teach that to create a level of mastery. But but you have to understand that at some point when you first began to learn all the stuff that you teach now, you remember how hard it was to remember stuff? You remember how many times that someone need to remind you, hey, step one, acknowledge and
Mm-hmm.
neutralize, you know, what they're saying. Step two is position, make it a positioning statement. And then step three is to end it with a question.
Mm-hmm.
It's like when you guys come up with like, I don't know what to do. I'm aware that I know what to do, but I can't expect you to be like, don't you remember that part? You see that? That's why it's important to do what you love. Because if I didn't love this, I'd be like, dude, these people aren't growing. They're not doing what I want them to do like instantly. And I can't expect that. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, that
Be like,
takes a
I
little.
told you this on the first day, Tamsin.
Exactly. And then that doesn't make you feel good, does it? It makes you feel like, oh, I'm stupid, you know. But again, it's not about you being smart or dumb. How many most dumb people are some of the most successful people? Because it's the smart people who overthink everything. Ain't
Mm.
that right?
Hmm.
Right? So you don't need to be smart. And you also don't need to be good looking to be super hyper successful, ultra successful. See that? So it's the most brilliant people that can make things feel so simple. And it really is simple. Um, but yeah, let's go into that. Okay, let's go into the reframing here. Let me just find it. Do do do. Okay. Oh, okay, let's see. We got a bunch of people. Oh, yeah, and also what we can also do is look at the KPIs and the numbers as well. I meant to share that. We need to look at sorting those leads and then shooting out some follow-up messages here.
Okay.
Let's see here. Mm, okay. Okay, cool. Yeah, let me show you this. Okay. Okay. It is so funny. And it's actually kind of funny because there's a bunch of people in my world who they were selling for very big names, and a lot of people got very, oh man, they got so triggered at the event, and they're about to like go to the back of the room, ask for the refund, and then they were able to have a conversation with them and dialogue with them, uh, and turn them around, get them to stay. And I've seen both men and women playing at a world class level do that, and it's so beautiful to
Mm.
see. Because if that, like if you didn't, I don't want to say save, but kind of like save that person from their own self perpetuated fears, they would never have gotten the benefit, right, from that event because they got uncomfortable. It offended them. And then they got turned around and then walk out of the event smiling, laughing, feeling so much more confident, connected to themselves. But if they had left, they never would have gotten that. Okay, so anyways, that's a little kind of story around like why this is valuable to this is and that's a form of adding value. Did you know that? Like helping someone to see a new perspective, even if they don't buy with you, right away. That is adding value. That's what marketing is. That's essentially shifting people's perspective and then influencing them to change their behaviors. That's what marketing is designed to do, is to get people to do stuff, just to do stuff. And what gets people to do stuff is to shift their perspective slightly and get them to take action in harmony with what they want to do and what you want them to do.
Mm.
Okay. So just remember that you can scale faster when you can become more of a flexible communicator, assuming that you're clear on your company values, right? But you can also synergize their values with your values by asking them why. Why? If you just sat on a sales call and just kept asking someone, what do you mean? Why? You want that money? You want that relationship? You want that health and body? Why? Or just like what's causing you to want why? What's the reason that's important to you? Oh, really? And what would that enable you to do? What's the reason that one? And then once you get that deeper level of reasons, you've extracted their values, haven't you? And now you know exactly how to resonate and align with their values by just saying something as simple as, well, I'm the same way too, or I'm the same type of person. I also am someone who is health uh oriented, or I'm also someone of
Mm.
high ethics and integrity. You see that?
Mhm. Yeah.
And now you're together. You have gone from being two autonomous people to two sovereign people together. That's when amazing things can happen. See that? They don't
Mhm.
even like, man, they don't even know what's happening. They don't even know why they feel called to work with you. Well, it's because you know how to communicate with them and how they like to project their reality out to the world. Everyone's looking for a match. Everyone's looking for a bond. They're looking for themselves, right? They want reinforcement of that belief or that bias or that whatever. Hi there. Thanks for the message. Okay. Thanks for sharing how it resonated with you. Okay. Okay. The underlying frequency is, oh, okay, cool. She's maybe testing the waters, seeing,
Yeah, I
asking.
get that a lot. Why'd you ask?
Yeah. And it's again the first step. My ego instantly wants to say, um, it's either wants to answer their question right away and fall into their frame, or it wants to ignore the question. Okay, isn't that right?
Yeah.
That's your impulse, isn't it?
Mhm.
Wait a second. First, we want to elevate their concern or their question. Ah, great question. 100%. Love that. You see that? And this takes practice, but it's almost like you have to leave your mind and get really focused on what these words really mean. And
Yeah.
when the way you do that, a practical way to do that is to just breathe, control your breathing, get into a more strong physiological state to elevate your psychology. Most people do, they're like, uh, I'm not breathing. Why is this person asking me this question? I don't like that. Why don't they just buy my stuff? You see that? So, right. So, and I'm teaching you how these align and helping you to at least get a better understanding of that, right? So, in other words, your conscious critical factor, okay, your conscious mind, which thinks in words and stories and meanings, it is
Mhm.
it is filtering all the information coming at you. And do you see how that can actually help or hurt you when it comes to effectively selling these people? Okay. And you can bypass
Mhm.
that critical factor by changing your state and knowing your outcome. Then you can get rapport by going out of your mind and getting into this. Like if this was the only thing that if this is the last conversation I ever have for the rest of my life, how much more attention would I give this? How much more curiosity would I give this? How much more play and fun would I have with this? Okay. When problems happen for my clients, they work with me because I say I do this. This is my reaction. Oh, juicy problem. How are we gonna solve this? Let's go. Right? What do most people do? Oh no, why me? Or they'll get too serious and be like, oh God, I'm so frustrated. And then that can work, right? What I'm saying is you get in a soft mentality, a light, playful mentality, your consciousness begins to restructure itself.
Mm.
Okay. If you are the highest status person in the world, you're only focused on your positive qualities, which enables you to have high self-esteem instantly and charisma instantly. Your physiology would unlock, your mind would unlock, and then you'd say exactly the right thing because you're the buyer, they're the seller. You are buying clients, they are selling themselves to you. It is not the other way around. The moment you think it's the other way around, you have messed yourself up without because you just didn't know how to reframe your mindset. Okay. Oh, interesting. You see that? Okay, so I have two coaching businesses, one offering in person. Oh, okay. Two coaching businesses. Step one is what? Right? Neutralize, acknowledge. Okay. That's the first step. Is like making them feel understood. Hey, great question. I always like getting to know people better when I can.
Mhm.
Okay, now, okay, if I know what my process is, I know now it's time to ask her either a this or that question. Are you on social media for this, or are you looking to grow your business? Or I could just push it back further and push away, right? Before we get ahead of ourselves. You see that?
Yeah.
Because I'm not in a rush. Why? Just because I have this belief that they need me more than I need them.
Hmm.
Okay. You see that like when when they ask that question, it's fine. It is totally fine. It could mean a multitude of different things. But when I do something that they don't predict is what's going to happen. Think about how many people talking to someone like me, okay, think I'm just going to go for the kill, right?
Mm.
Like right away. It's surprising when they say, "Hey, before we get ahead of ourselves, where are you located?" It has nothing to do with business. Ah, you see that? And then I naked awakening. What is that? Where did I get that? Play on words is okay. Oh, it's probably because I went to her profile and I looked at that. It says new, a naked awakening. Naked awakening. So I made it personalized to her.
Yeah.
You see, and so people love, like they love their own name, music to their ears. They love hearing it reflected back to them, the exact words they say. That's what I mean, Miss Tamsin, of how you get rapport with people. Don't complicate it,
Mm.
right? Hang on a second. Okay. Okay, so she replied, Brisbane. I don't care what she says. All I care is that she replies. I don't care if it's a screw off, I hate you, because then I can always go deeper and just say, hey, listen, I completely understand. I know how frustrating it is and how much resentment there might seem to be there. Um, with so many people just talking, but not giving the solutions. I'm not saying this is you, but it seems there might be some resentment here.
Mm.
What? You see, no one says that, right? And now they feel emotionally understood. I emotionally connected with them. And that was the first of two steps. The second step, obviously, is to reframe them, but realize that you can never out logic someone when you don't connect emotionally first. See that?
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if you're right. It doesn't matter. Even if I'm right in context, it doesn't matter to you. Because why? It was because you feel misunderstood. It's classic Stephen Covey, right? Seek to understand before being understood. Okay. Now, of course, every principle has its opposite, doesn't it? Okay, to be a successful thought leader, you have to be willing to be misunderstood by many fucking people.
Hmm.
Because if you're not, you just try to be everything to everybody, and then you don't end up making the money you really want to make or having the life you really want to have. And that's a devotion to your spiritual path that most are just unwilling and refuse to take, which is fine. Doesn't matter. It doesn't affect me or you or anybody because that's their choice, and you have to respect their right to not deeply engage with you. And just that deeper knowing will enable you to shorten the emotional refractory period. And what do you remember what that means? What is the emotional refractory period? Oh, it's okay if you forget.
Hmm, I don't know.
That's okay. That's perfect. Cis persona fatigue of forgetting to say, "Hey, I'm me, and I have a business." This instantly changes your state. I'm me. I have a. What do most people do? I am my business. My self-esteem is attached to my business,
Yes, right, yeah.
right?
Hmm.
If you're attached to someone else's response, how you expect, well, again, that's going to create a lot of decision fatigue. Because if you respect someone's right to not deeply engage with you, you can turn that rejection into redirection. You can redirect that energy to someone else. But what do we mostly do? We have decision fatigue because we don't take action, massive action, messy action, and we constantly are critical to ourselves. So we have to find something funny about that interaction, not take it so seriously. And when we respect people's right to not deeply engage with us, we can redirect that energy, can't we?
Hmm.
And then the emotional refractory period implies that there's a energetic um, force in your subconscious, in your nervous system. Whatever is the dominant emotion that you feel, if it's a great feeling, think of it as like a little wizard inside of you. Okay. And that little wizard, when you're feeling good, it wants to ride itself. He wants to go run around the city for as long as possible. That emotion wants to run itself out for as long as possible. Pleasure. But then there's also sometimes a devil, or there's a demon of uh shadow emotion that we just haven't integrated. And we just have to be aware that that also wants to spread and run itself out for as long as possible. Okay.
Hmm.
Now that's not good or bad. Neither one. It's just that's not good or bad. It's not good or bad. But that's what that means is the emotional refractory period just shows us that it is something inside of us that we can just be aware of. And that emotional refractory period is it's that emotion's desire to reinforce a certain bias that we have. Okay, because any belief that we have is simply just a decision about how the world was how the world is as it was recorded in our nervous system with the information that we had at the time. So
Yeah.
whatever was there first, whatever was there first is what drives most of what we do. That's why it's very valuable for the work that you do is very valuable because people don't really even know that a lot of their behaviors are very irrational. Um, and then once you accept that, you can actually take more control over your mind. You see that? The
Mm.
hardest thing to do is to admit that we're all irrational creatures, meaning just emotional creatures, and then to just get very frustrated because we say we're going to do something, we never do it, or we don't do it. Okay, but what understanding what this emotional refractory period is to shorten that period of getting disappointed and then letting that kind of pull you down, which then cuts off all your energy from creating opportunity in the now. Because what if I were to tell you that if you knew about emotional refractory period and you were just aware of how that works, you see how this applies in relationships? Let's say you want to go on a date with a guy, he dumps you, and then
or a guy or girl, whatever. Um, and then you get turned down or whatever. And that refractory period lasts, right? Because you're just so attached to the results you wanted. And that whole day you spend looking down, looking whatever, in your own stories, in your own mind. And Mr. Right was walking right by you. But because you were not aware of that emotional refractory period, you have tools to get back into the present moment. You literally don't see it. Your brain will not see it because of your state. See, ever notice that? If I would get $1 million check to a homeless person, they would say, "Give me the cash, man. I don't need that piece of paper." See that, but it's because their emotional state, their brain can't see it. So people don't believe what they see; they only see what they believe about themselves. Does that help you to understand that that's not who you are, but that's just a cycle that's running itself out? Now, if you accept that that's just a cycle running itself out, now you can be more adaptive. Okay. Instead of letting some
Yeah.
sort of disappointment or rejection make that mean something about you, and then you carry that for longer, and then you miss out on all the opportunity that was in front of you because you didn't know how that emotional refractory period works. There's a great saying, never make a decision in a triggered state, because it's usually the wrong one.
Yeah.
Okay. So
Absolutely.
Brisbane is gorgeous. Oh my God. Okay. I was recently just chatting with a few clients from Brisbane. Okay, cool. Okay. Building some common ground. I don't know. I don't know me. I know you don't know me and I don't know you, but just so I understand you better, that's a softener. Just so I understand you better. It's a softener, right? It softens the blow of the question. How long have you been building
Hmm.
online? How long have you building online? Appreciate this conversation interest, but my work, but I'm curious what you're hoping to achieve here. Ah, yes. You see, my reaction is different from most. Oh no, I gotta defend myself.
Hmm.
They caught me with the hand in the cookie jar. Mommy caught me, right? I don't care,
Yeah.
right? Your response is either going to be defensive, uh, and kind of like a placating way, okay? Like you got caught with the cookie hand in the cookie jar. Um, or yeah, so let's keep going. I don't mean to be rude. You see that? What's the frame here? What is the frame? I don't mean to be rude. Fair enough. She's conscious of how she what she's saying may affect me. I like that. Or I mean, no, I like that, but I appreciate that. Okay. But generally, when someone sparks a comment with me, this is their slung to try to offer me something. Haha. See, she has a good mentality about it. She's not super bitter. She's not trying to, spread the pain.
Yeah.
Um, and that's important. It's like people do harmful things because they're either in pain or very confused. And the
Hmm.
confusion is what leads to the pain. You see that? No one's a bad person, broken, or any damaged, but the way they're approaching it is really damaged. It's not, it's damaged. It's not them that's damaged. It's how they're doing it that's just kind of just ineffective. And then they get mad because they have I think the wrong expectations. And that is what it is. Yes. Okay. So first, my goal, okay, is to not even think about what I want to say in response, but to just ask myself, okay, uh, what is this person's state? What is their mood? They seem like they're in a good mood. I think
Yeah.
women can read this better than men. Um, but I also acknowledge that there's a certain frame here, and what a frame is what? Here's a little a pop quiz. A frame.
What's the frame?
Yeah,
Yeah. So,
how would you define frame? You talk about things like frame control. What is a frame? Or dynamic, right? What is a frame?
um,
What does it mean to control the frame?
it means to be in control, to take back
Whoever's
the
frame, yeah.
direction.
So a
Who's
frame,
trying to be on top, maybe?
well, what it means to be on top is just whoever is more clear and certain.
Right.
Okay, so a frame is by definition just a set of assumptions of meanings. Okay, so if I took
Hmm.
this cup is factual. Would you agree that this is a cup?
Yes.
Okay. Do you see the cup?
Yes.
Okay. So the frame is the lens. It's the meaning that you are placing on the meaning of this cup or the value that this cup has to you. And I'm
Hmm.
placing a lens of perception that this cup has to me. But we're both looking at the same conversation. A better way to put this is that, let's take a sales conversation, for example. This is just a
Yeah.
call. It's a call. It has no fucking conversations. They have no meaning whatsoever. We're just blah, 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 blah. But to you as a prospect, you want free coaching, free value, getting info, spending no money, and then ghosting, going away. What do I want? I want the client. I want more money. I want to serve the client. But it's the same conversation. You're looking at it a completely different way than me. I'm not saying like, people come to the call not wanting to buy or, not considering working with me, but essentially that's kind of an example of how this is an object, but this not has no meaning or value. There's no such thing as value. It's perception of value.
Hmm.
Okay. Same thing with this conversation. This is helping you to understand. Okay. So her frame is that the strongest word in my the strongest word that stands out to me is rude, and I'm going to be able to change the meaning of that because I want to elevate her self-esteem. I don't want to diminish it, and I want to take back the frame. Okay. I don't mean to be rude. See, she's a little bit scared of how she's going to make me feel. Not scared, but she's considerate.
Yeah.
And so I'll just say, I'll exaggerate the frame or I'll ignore the frame. But generally, I'll just exaggerate it in a cheeky, as you guys say, cheeky response. Of like, oh, I could be as rude as you'd like. You see that? So you can't take this too seriously, right? People talking shit.
Yeah.
Just, just elevate the shit. People call me an asshole. Oh man, I'm the biggest asshole. That's okay. But if I argue with them, I caved into their frame. I fell into their frame. But
Yeah.
if I exaggerate the frame, it just pings right off of me, like water off a duck's back. I never
Yeah.
judge people, but I like sparking flowy conversations with the limited time I have. Okay. I'm using a time constraint frame. Uh, the way I see it is silly to hold attachment to what happens next. I agree. Hard and pushy is the fastest way to turn off people. Okay, so why did I say I agree hard and pushy is the fastest way to turn away people? The reason why I said that was because I want to be the first person to call out the negative.
Yeah.
Because if I'm the first person to call the negative out, they can't use that against me.
Mm-hmm.
Now, just that will completely change your life in many ways. I assumed you're not interested. Again, I took the frame back. She's assuming that I'm trying to sell her. I assume she's not interested. Okay. At this point, I don't even know. So just lean back. This is all just leaning back. Okay. And applying the principles of frames.
Yeah.
Then you don't have to get hyper fixated on what to say. At this point, I don't even know if the tool would be the right fit. What you have to offer as its malpractice to offer. See, there's an ethical frame. A broke offer analytical frame. Malpractice to offer anything to anyone who's before diagnosing, like a doctor, auditing what's under the hood. Personally, I would want to better understand the vision you have. Okay. And I can send you just this just to add to your script. But these types of
Yeah.
responses, these are already in the script of the lean back segment. But it definitely always helps to have other, avenues.
Okay. I don't know if I found that then. Which document is it on?
It's on the DM script.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll add it to you. Or what you can do is just send me a link to that right now, and then I can add it.
The
Look at this. She turns right around. I understand. What's the tool? Oh my God. I'm about to leave for a busy day of events.
Amazing. The Transcendent Sell by Chat one.
Yeah. That you
That
want
one, yeah.
you want to always have that as a
I
point of
always have it.
yeah, as a
I do.
point of to reference.
I'll send it in the chat. I just need to pop to the bathroom. I'll be back in 1 second, okay? Get some water.
Absolutely. Take your time. Okay. Cool. Oh.
I'm back.
Nice. Okay, so let me show you something real quick before we sign off.
Yes, show me.
Okay, so 1 sec here.
Whoa.
Okay, so here we go. Let's take a look. And then we shall wrap for the day. Okay. So normally you guys would reply Okay, completely all good, only work, here, or typically, or let's just say, hey, all good. I was just popping in around dancing nature, uh, putting them in a trance of some way.
Yes.
I always encourage skepticism, uh, as it means someone needs to see proof that something works before they trust it. I'm in the same way. You see how I'm starting to seed, the obvious next step for us as a company would be to send them case studies to show them we can help them before we try to help them. Okay. That's not the same situation as me aggressively trying to coach them or to give them. You see how a lot of coaches make that mistake? They try to like convince them through the power of like helping, giving unsolicited advice when it actually
Mm.
makes them feel this kind of underlying disgust more than like, oh, thank you. Does that make sense?
Yeah, happens all the time. Unsolicited advice. Unsolicited
Unsolicited
advice.
advice.
Ah!
Right?
Yes.
Okay, so what I'm doing instead is I say, hey, I always encourage guests to say, uh, at this point, I don't even know if it's leaning back. High integrity. Okay, personally for me, social proof. Before we get ahead of ourselves, hey, now tell me more about your passions. What do you like to do outside of the work? And then I can always loop it back around to, hey, tell me about your goals. Then now they feel more connected and now they're more willing and open to answer my qualifier questions because I'm building rapport with them as we go. So people say building rapport is only in the beginning of the relationship. No, it's infinite. You're always building rapport.
Hmm.
And then you can loop it
Yes.
back around to the sale. So I just added this part, this alternative reframe.
Amazing. Yeah. Thank
Okay.
you.
Because what you're doing is you're getting to, okay, it's whoever gets to the frame first. So if I call out the lies, the deception, the unethical behaviors, the pushiness, or the neediness, okay, that gets them to attract to me because again, it's me demonstrating social acuity. There's many things going on, but essentially, when I call that out, now they can't use that as ammunition against me because I was the first
Hmm.
one to talk about it. You see, you're going to see me do that on the masterclass of how I'm going to pre-frame our package so that they buy into that idea even more. They get more excited about that. I want to make sales without being pushy. I want to make sales without being needy and getting put in the friend zone by prospects. I want to stop nurturing for 5 months to just make some money. I want to
Hmm.
I want to win. Okay, so you guys can do what most people do. And Hannah and I were joking about this the other day. We're like, most people in the marketplace, it's December. You can feel the apathy. You can feel the complacency. You can feel people taking their foot off the gas pedal because it's what everybody does. But
Yes.
the the visionary, that's the moment to take action because the bigger
Yes.
opportunity implies it's easier to make money and to capitalize on the collective uh settling that happens during December. So you could start this in January, but if you wanted to, we could start, you know, signing clients in the next 4 weeks just as a bonus. So if you sign up today, you're gonna get 50% off and an added month for just 3K. You can start it. It's gonna be a 6-week sprint. Hannah and I are gonna blow your minds open and give you a reliable sales system that bolts and it integrates directly into your social media, IG or Facebook. Black Friday deal. Free month if you join now. Where this is normally 6K package. There's 6 intensive, 6K. You can get it right now for 3K.
Mm.
Boom. Here's the link. And I'm certain that that's going to crush it. That's going to be amazing.
Yeah. Definitely.
Okay. Now there's multiple layers that I'm sure Hannah will relay to you around the frame, the psychological frame that people are in during Black Friday weekend, and we'll talk about that. But it will be valuable and important for us to just be aware of, okay, like, why do people buy on Black Friday? What is their mindset? What's their intention? Well, their intention is to use up their Black Friday savings money because they're not necessarily looking for long-term commitments. They're looking for solutions and buying based on the value from the discount. So it's almost like they're going to the store and just grabbing like the best toothpaste, but they want that toothpaste right now. Okay, so it's better positioning, at least during this time of year, to not try to sell long-term things. And most coaches, what they do is they do one of two things. Okay, the first mistake they make is they just slap on a 50% discount or 40% discount and don't even put any thought into anything. They just look around. They're like, oh, that person's doing 50%. Okay, let's put 50%. And okay, it can kind of work. But if you're planning for the different ways that you're monetizing that collective opportunity, then you can be more intentional and strategic and reliable on the whole business model of, okay, here's the release, or here's the launch, or here's the bundle, and here's how we're bundling it. Okay, we have 1, 2, 3, 4 mechanisms that we're putting in a bundle, and we're taking off discounts off of all of those mechanisms, bundling them up into one bundle. And that can be either a low ticket thing, or it could be a sprint like we're selling to the audience, a sprint of intensive results. So like if you sell a digital product, you just want to be aware that, okay, there's the prospect inertia to then upsell them after that. But during this time of year, it's important to kind of shorten that that experience. And then once that phase is over, you can again, invite them to continue for longer term. So it's this, you see how that works in the same principles. Like, yes, these people can buy this 3K 6-month intensive, but ultimately after the intensive, as they've continued to enjoy better financial results, they can recirculate some of that money to continue in that little mini cohort for a nominal monthly fee, as long as that makes sense for everybody involved, for you guys, for myself, for the client. And that's kind of how you want to see it. And it's honestly this, it's I'm not attached to if they continue or not, but it's just not a good idea to just not think about if or how you would be able to have them continue for a longer period of time. Because when they continue for a longer period of time, as they continue to grow their skill and results, the faster the results go up, now you can ride that crescent wave. And you guys are amazing at that, of just saying, hey, they're winning. Yay, they're in an upward spiral of momentum. Well, let's capitalize on that. Let's upgrade them to a bigger package and invite them to, pay in full for the whole year and end up saving X amount of money. And they're more willing to say yes because, again, they'll save money versus the monthly payment plan compared to the pay in full. And they're in the winner effect. So it's way more likely that they will be able to say, yeah, you know what? That makes sense. I'd like to save some money. I'm getting results. Here's the rest of the investment. And this is all predicated on my philosophy and expertise, specialization in understanding the psychology of monthly recurring revenue type of business versus a pay in full high ticket business. So the whole intention here is to have you riding and gliding, sliding down these two lanes simultaneously. Okay, because ultimately what? Monthly recurring revenue is a mirage. You only value monthly recurring revenue when you look back on the past and you see how much they paid you. But unless you have a super low churn rate and 100% retention rate, it's highly unlikely that human beings will continue for the time you think they're going to continue for. That makes sense?
Mm-hmm.
So again, it's useful to just intentionally say, hey, you've hit this mark. Would you like to take care of the rest of this and save X amount of money? Just as an invitation, like you see how there's very little tension and pressure on that.
Yes.
It's like you don't have to. I'm just saying that that's available to you if you want to do it.
Yeah. Amazing.
Yeah, it's gonna be great. Okay, because the funniest thing is that when that word spreads, oh God, like I had no idea the money I was missing out on from not having a sell by chat system. Like everybody needs to do that. Like I need to tell my friends, right? And again, we start attracting people into that hive, into that little portal, and then you can have that as another kind of leg in the business model.
Mm-hmm. Nice. Cool.
Was that useful, helpful for you guys, or for you to I'm gonna send this replay to some of my clients, but
Yeah,
is
sure.
that helpful for you to what wins did you have this week? I know you had a 14K. Look at your face. Look at you.
Weekend. Did we have 14K weekend or something ridiculous? Let me just see it in the chat.
Oh. Well, that's what she said. I think that's what she said in the group chat. It's like between Friday and Monday, you had a
Yeah,
nice little 14K roll in.
yeah, we had three sneaky Black Friday pre-sale things and one ambassador, one like re-sign for the school, for the university.
Nice.
So yeah,
What's how much is an ambassador membership?
7K.
Nice. And what was the bra what
Sorry,
what was the Black Friday um package? Was it just like
the
a
Black Friday. I don't know. Hannah did those. I didn't get involved in it.
okay.
Um,
No, no, that's
we
fine.
have
That's fine.
so many different things going on. I kind of like stay in my lane and stay laser focused on what I'm doing, and then she puts other things out there. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. And
Um,
yeah. And now just keep in mind,
otherwise,
right, that the okay, if you could write this down, then we'll wrap for the day. We have
yeah.
you have a visible sale offers. Okay, you have a visible sales system. Okay, visible. So visible is sell by chat and any website that you have public. Okay, it's any path to
Mm,
cash that's passive or just, in DMs or call whatever. Right? Live events, etc.
yeah.
Okay, now the BTS, okay, behind the scenes offers are not promoted publicly. Okay. So you can use this as a little
Yeah.
game, a little practice to see, okay, what are your clients' needs? Do they buy? Okay, if they buy, okay, does this make sense for us to put this out to the public and create a wait list around? You see, the key phrase is wait list as an attraction mechanism. Okay, versus the mistake many coaches make is having a bajillion offers and be confusing their audience as to what they're even selling. So
Yeah, because
instead you want
sometimes
to,
you can get confused.
yeah, you just want to have a clear understanding of a business model where you're saying, hey, these are our core offers that are public and visible, and then here's our behind the scenes customized packages that are invisible, and as needed, you can present those behind the scenes in DMs, or you customize that package for someone, right? But that's still you don't say like, oh, I've got 17 million offers, since people don't know. What you're doing is you're saying 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 core offers, 5 core offers, and every week you're just opening the waitlist doors, right? And they're limited time opportunity to jump in, and you're just rotating. So to the perception that your audience has, still feels like you're launching new things, but you're really just circulating around externally,
Yeah.
publicly. But that doesn't mean that through DMs you can't sell any one of your offers. But I'm just saying the perception that you're creating and presenting in the marketplace is that you've got very simple, here's my high proximity, here's my groups, and here's my digital low ticket products. But again, you're not, you know what I mean? Does that make sense?
Yeah. We've already started doing that behind the scenes things, which is what we did with our ambassadors. Like when they want to re-enroll, for example, we give them a really good offer. I had a call because I do support calls within the university. If there's anything that's coming up for them or whatever, then I guide them to the right live, or I guide them to the right program or whatever. And there's this one wonderful woman that we want to upsell her to the certification. So we offered her, like, if she does it, if she upgrades by the end of November, then she can come to Morocco for free. So at the beginning, I was like, oh, so I know we're circling back about, Hannah mentioned about you upgrading to the cert. And she was like, oh, yeah, I can't afford it. I was like, well, let me just tell you about the deals, because they're really cool. And then suddenly she was like, well, what day do you start? And what day is the leaving date? And what time do we leave? So she then wanted to know all the information about Morocco. So
love it.
she's going to be in, and we'll meet her in Morocco. Amazing.
Yeah.
And that's
yes.
a 10K upgrade.
Yeah. It's like, woo, people go through waves, right? They go like this. Every day they go through this.
Yeah.
Whoa, emotional. And so it doesn't matter if someone's like, oh, I don't want to do it now. It's like the next day they're going to be in a different state. And just understand, I forgot to tell you. Okay. Please send, when you have calls, okay, this doesn't really apply in DMs so much, but when you have calls, try to book them. And this isn't easy, especially if an international business like mine, right? But try to have it to where, like, the time is between 10 a.m. and 4 p.m. ish. And the reason why I say that is because human beings' willpower is highest in that time window. And their willpower is not as strong down after 4 p.m. Okay, so in other words, the statistics show us in the marketplace with all the other $1 million coaches that I mastermind with and we share data, is that based on our statistics, okay, humans are more likely to buy between that window of time. Now, I'm not saying you can't book calls after that, but it's a useful understanding of matrix to understand when it comes to elevating the probability of conversion. Okay, don't tell anyone that secret, because pretty much no one knows that.
So book calls between 10 and 4 because buyer's willpower is stronger
during that window. Yeah, quite literally, because science shows us, right? There's a book on this. It's called Willpower by, I forget his name. But the biggest causes of will power is your sleep and nutrition. How well nourished.
Can you get me the name of the
Roy? His name is Roy Baumeister.
What? My willpower is gone. It's like 9:30 at night, Theo.
I know. I appreciate your commitment. Yeah, it's called Willpower by Roy B Baumeister. B A
Baumeister.
Yeah, Baumeister.
Yes.
Rediscovering the greatest human strength is willpower. And
Okay.
yeah, it just kind of shows you the science behind how to optimize your willpower and just what to do around that.
Cool.
But that
I'll
that
check it
that
out.
that prefrontal cortex, okay, which is
Uh-huh.
that is a finite resource, right? Energy is infinite, but on your biological level, you only have so much willpower every day. This is why it's important to knock out important tasks in the beginning of the day, because as the day progresses, um, you just don't have the willpower. It's
Yeah.
like trying to drive a car that doesn't have gas.